Morning to all of you. Welcome to our Namaste Village Namaste experience. It's so great to have you. I'm still in Portland, as you can see, but I'm so happy to be able to join you. I hear there was an amazing session yesterday with Calico and Vicky. And I think today's going to be a beautiful session as well, because I've invited our dear brother Scott Grace to come and join us. And we're going to talk about something that we probably don't talk about enough. We talk a lot about the divine feminine. We have parables almost every day that relate to this mother energy, the great mother character, the divine feminine, once again. But without talking about the divine masculine and this energy as well, we're losing something that is essential to our wholeness. And so I invited Scott to come in to share because he has a beautiful book out all about the divine masculine, which I'm sure he'll talk about and mention. But I want to begin, before I turn it over to Scott, with a parable all about this subject. So let me share this parable, then I'll turn it over to Scott and he'll take it from there. So here we go. In a village nestled amidst rolling hills, there lived a humble blacksmith named Eric. Known for his skilled hands and gentle demeanor, Eric was revered by his fellow villagers not only for his craftsmanship, but also for his wisdom. One day, a young boy approached Eric, his eyes wide with curiosity. "Master Eric," the boy asked, "what does it mean to embody the divine masculine?" Eric smiled warmly and motioned for the boy to sit beside him by the glowing forge. "Imagine," Eric began, "a mighty river carving its path through the rugged terrain. It flows steadily, with purpose and determination, shaping the land all around it. The divine masculine," Eric continued, "is like the river, strong yet fluid. It is the embodiment of action, of strength, and of protection. But it is also the embodiment of compassion and understanding." The young boy listened intently as Eric spoke, his words painting a vivid picture in his mind. "However," Eric continued, "just as the river must navigate obstacles along its journey, so too must we navigate the challenges of life. And it is in these moments of adversity that the true essence of the divine masculine is revealed." Eric paused, and his gaze turning inward as if searching for the right words. To embody the divine masculine is not about dominance or control, he explained, but rather about integrity, humility, and the willingness to stand for what is right. The young boy nodded, absorbing Eric's words like a sponge. "But how do we know if we are embodying the divine masculine?" he asked. Eric chuckled softly. "It is not something that can be measured or quantified," he explained. "Instead, it is a journey, a continuous striving to cultivate strength, courage, and compassion in our hearts." As the sun began to set, casting a warm golden glow over the village, Eric and the young boy sat in companionable silence, the flickering flames of the forge illuminating their faces. And in that moment, amidst the quiet serenity of the village, the young boy realized that the true essence of the divine masculine resided not in grand gestures or lofty ideals, but in the simple act of living with purpose, integrity, and an open heart. I like how this parable ends. The simple act of living with purpose, integrity, and an open heart. So we begin to realize that it's not for us to lean one direction or the other, leaning into the divine feminine or the divine masculine. It's about balance. That's the integrity and the purpose that the parable speaks about. To be balanced and to know somehow intuitively in our hearts when it is important for us to step forward in the divine masculine and to have that courage and purpose, or when to relax into the compassion of the divine feminine. And this is something that happens naturally when we are single focused on living this reality that we call love. So with that, I want to turn it over to Scott and hear what Scott has to share about this, because as we know, Scott has a beautiful book that I was happy to write an endorsement for, and he's been sharing that all over the world for the last few months now. So Scott, I'm going to let you take it from there, and if you want to turn it over to Vicky at the end, you're very welcome to. So good morning to you and to everyone.
Good morning. Good morning, and thank you for that parable, James. I asked James if he or we could give a talk about divine masculine, and almost instantly, the parable, he shared it with me. I love that. I love that you're teaching in parables. I think both you and I and many people have been burned out on spiritual self-help books and have resorted to Stephen King, and I just like to read mysteries these days. But when something comes along like a book of parables or somebody telling true stories about their spiritual journey, I definitely make exceptions. So the divine masculine. I love that you ended with purpose. That is such a juicy word. Both James and I, at different times in our life, took a male initiation weekend called the New Warrior Training Adventure. And one of the many things I remember was trekking on the top of the mountain where this elderly man sat there with a cigar. You sat down next to him and he said, "What's your purpose?" And it was more like a Zen question without an answer. For me, I could have said something like, to love and be loved. But I needed to walk through the fires of initiation before I could come up with words to my sense of purpose. So the divine masculine is that which takes action in the face of fear based on what the divine feminine tells us what to do. In other words, the Holy Spirit or the mother or the right brain, the intuitive, there's so many words you could use, gives us marching orders. And we are faced with the choice, because we have free will, to take action on that intuitive direction. And masculine initiation involves the courage to act in spite of fear. And that's what courage is. It's not fearlessness. It's that which we do while we tremble. I did a lot of research for the writing of this book, Mindful Masculinity, and what I discovered was that the masculine inside of us, and of course women included, grows stronger by facing adversity, by voluntarily or involuntarily embracing challenges that stir up fear. The feminine in all of us grows stronger through nurturing and being nurtured. Nurturing others, nurturing plants, nurturing pets, children. the earth, and receiving love graciously. And as James said, we need both to bring a new heaven to earth right now. We don't need just the listening to the Holy Spirit. That's wonderful. But then we need to act on it. Take the action steps that boldly go where no one has gone before within sight of us. I remember, James, you talked a few times about when you received the guidance to spend 6 months in the anchor hold, in seclusion, doing nothing. And how, I think you said this rather playfully, but there may have been a little inner criticism that you couldn't help it. You had to write 2 books while you were in there. And I remembered that. It was amusing. And I also felt just a little contraction in my body because I was observing or imagining that you judged yourself for not being able to help it, to write, to have creativity flow through you, to not be able to put the books on hold and say, give me 6 months to do nothing. But I think that you were inspired, and to say no to that inspiration or to procrastinate it would not have been in your best interests or the best interests of the world, because the divine masculine, and you've gotten used to it, James. I mean, you've said yes so many times, it's like you just say yes in your sleep. The divine masculine is the one that acts on the intuition and the ideas that we receive from the feminine. It's like, the divine masculine impregnates and then, okay, enough metaphors. So, male initiation into divine masculinity always involves facing fear. But one of the steps we all need to do before facing fear is owning fear. And admitting fear. And I remember the first time I got the message, I think I was 7 years old, that it wasn't safe to admit fear. The first time that I remember acting out this message was in summer camp when I was, we were all supposed to get in the swimming pool, and I was afraid of water, and I said to the counselor, do I have to? I'd rather draw on the side of the pool. I'll be fine. And he said, no, everybody in the pool. And so I got in the pool and tried my best not to show fear, but I was trembling. And then I started crying. But the mantra in my head was, boys don't cry. Boys are not supposed to feel fear. So I spent much of my young adulthood, boyhood, adolescence, convincing myself not to show fear. And how can you move through fear if you don't tell the truth about it to yourself and to others? And that's why men have, I think, 27, maybe 40% more addictions than women, according to addiction.com. Because women have more permission in our culture to feel our feelings, to own our feelings, and to let them be. While men have been programmed to think of feelings like appliances that need fixing. So the male medicine for divine masculinity is courage. The way to get to that courage is to admit that you're afraid. That's the first step. I have an altered ego called the spiritual Dr. Seuss. And he says this about fear. Fear prefers to stay hidden from view and play hide and seek in its host, which is you. I'm not afraid, I'm just angry, it shouts. I've been mistreated and need to speak out. I'm not afraid, I'm upset and I'm caring. There's so many disguises that fear enjoys wearing. He's proud of his wardrobe because he designed it. Though he wouldn't admit it, fear's quite clothes-minded. Many folks have said that we need both love and power. My first spiritual teacher, Hilda Charlton, used to say, kids, hold love in one hand and hold power in the other. Put them together and go out in the world, because love without power is mushy, codependent, and power without love, well, look at the world out there. Look at what the patriarchy has created without owning feminine energy. That's why dominance and control are so prevalent on this earth, because men and some women who haven't been saturated with loving kindness to the point where their hearts open and they feel empathy and connection with other people, plants, animals, they forget that what they need is love. And in that forgetting, they take the substitutes: money, power, fortune, fame. And that's why we focus so much on the divine feminine, because that's what the world needs for balance. But the divine feminine without the partnership of the divine masculine is a little bit like the exhale without the inhale. We need both. Hey, Vicky, what do you have to say about this?
Oh, Scott, thank you, my dear. Thank you so much. Thank you, Brother James. Hi, everybody. Happy Holy Wednesday, Silent Wednesday. I want to remind everyone it is May Day. It's May Day, and it's a great celebration of nature and life that's just so dynamic and singing to us all the time. Male, female, it's in the coming together that the real celebration is. But what I want to say, it's also, I think, Global Love Day, which is wondrous as well, because I love your Hilda. Hilda was so wise, and you were so well guided in listening to her and being part of her inner circle. I always appreciate hearing about Hilda, Scott, from you. But what we are in, so I'll come to very practical. We are in that phase where, just as you said, there's been an imbalance, and we need to come back into that womb, that total willingness to be nurtured and taken care of. And that's why this age of the feminine, the age of the mother, is where we come back and literally we are being reborn. This is what reborn is. We are the bearers. We are the ones coming in for this rebirth. We are being reborn every time we put down all our defenses, all our energies and ideas, and willingness instead to rest into the womb of love and be nurtured. But just as you say, without following and letting love be the director. And I forget how you said it, but give us our marching orders. That's what you said. Love does give us our marching orders, and love, it brings us into a realization of our next step. Always, it has its own direction, and part of the healing is taking those prompts, those inspirations, and following them now, not later. And James, you do that most perfectly. Like Scott said, you say yes in your sleep. a prompt and inspiration comes and James says, yes, I'm on it. But that's not a small thing. That is the way of love, the way of finding the core, the essence of our being, the center of our holiness as being nurtured, and then feeling those prompts, and they always come to give and express of itself, because there's no masculine and feminine in reality. In reality, there's oneness, holy, holy oneness. That's all of it. Here in time, because we break things down, we do step back. We do allow ourselves to fall into that mother's care so that we can feel the original prompts of innocence and then be about them. But even in the little things, this is a way of life. We need to be about them now. When the prompt comes to make a call, to do an errand, do it now. Don't do it later or tomorrow. Let it be now. Part of the lifestyle is listening only for the prompts of love and then following them in a very generous, giving way, not to get anything or to change anything out here, simply to let love extend through us. Because like in May Day, it's the celebration of Mother Love, the celebration of creation, and in Global Love Day, the activity of love it's our destiny. And if we don't act on love right now, who is? We are the ones. We're being called to it, and we recognize it. And the other thing I want to say that you did so well, Scott, is we need to be intimately honest with ourselves. That's the way a child is, an infant is. When we're frightened, when we're scared, when we're befuddled and bewildered, it's everything to lay that down in a surrender of honesty, intimate honesty. And maybe it is the image of the mother that gives us the strength to do that. And as we fall into that willingness to surrender to whatever the experience is without labels or judgments, if it appears or labeled fear, so be it. When we fall into that and let it be, let love nurture us back into fullness of our holiness. And then the prompts come, and then we know to follow them, because there's no goal of getting. When the prompt of love comes, it comes only with the greatest joy to give of itself. So, Brother James, I don't have a clock, and Scott, I don't know where I'm at for times. Let's see if I can see it. Oh, I still have a minute or two. Whoops. All right. So I know I have to turn my I can't get my computer to work, and there's a glitch somewhere, so I'm on my phone. Anyway, that's the essence of it. And happy Holy Wednesday, Silent Wednesday. This is the whole thing. We buy the whole trip today in our quietness, in our willing to be silent to our thinking, and letting the spirit rise up in us and listen. So recently I got tuned into a wonderful woman who lives in Ireland called Lorna Byrne. Some of you may know, she's quite the angel lady, but I didn't know her. So I've been listening to all these tapes, and I'm so excited to hear this child. As a child, she was very dyslexic, and she saw angels naturally. But to hear someone trumpet the angel world so simply and so clearly, Holy Wednesday to me is a day to recognize and to be with for no outcome other than what you call communing and compatibility and joining with. So today we join with life in the trees and the flowers. My neighbor just gave me beautiful lilacs from her garden, to be with everything and to experience ourselves as part of it, because it's all singing to us. I know that it is. I can't hear it with my ear, but I feel it so much with my being that I don't play music, because music gets in the way of that sound, that frequency, that vibration that's always going on. So on Holy Silent Wednesday, I really pay attention. And we're all invited to do that as a way of life. But it is fun to have a day where that's the whole goal, the whole focus, where we've been called to that, and then we get to enjoy it. So happy Holy Silent Wednesday, happy May Day, happy Global Love Day. Isn't it wondrous to live here? It's a way of life to live the way of love without any goal or outcome, not even to see heaven on earth, but to be the living expression of heaven on earth in our willingness simply to love and be, just be, and the rest is taken care of by grace. So I love you all. I thank you all. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, James. Thank you, everyone. Blessings, everyone. Happy holy day. And
Thank you.
I'll be there in a week. I'll be
I
there next
know.
week.
I'm so excited that you're going to be with us at Namaste in just a few days. And many of you are going to be joining us for this retreat. I'm just so happy that we get to share the Namaste experience in a new way by having your presence, having your bodies, having your attention, having your life joining together with ours. It's very exciting. And I just want to say one final thing to wrap this up. First of all, Scott, thank you so much. You are such a gift to us all. The way that you express and live the essence of the divine masculine. And you and Vicky both said something about me that I wanted to emphasize. I was very happy to hear that I say yes even in my sleep. And I thought when you said that, isn't that what we're all called to do right now? Is to say yes in our sleep, yes in our slumber, because we're all at this stage where we are waking up. We've been asleep for a very long time, asleep to who we really are, to where we really are, to what's truly happening. We've been asleep to it. And the way to awaken is to say yes in our sleep. And this is what actually stirs our consciousness and awakens us to the reality that is forever real. So whatever that means to you, however you're choosing to do that today, say yes in your sleep. It doesn't mean that you need to do anything, but to be present to everything, to awaken to the truth that love is everywhere at once. I'm so happy that today is Love Day. I didn't know that, so thank you for sharing that, Vicky. But this is why we are called to say yes in our sleep together. And as we do that together, everything awakens to this joyful expression and life-giving moment of spring, and it springs forth within us. The divine masculine and the divine feminine easily and naturally merge together into one grand, glorious experience. So, once again, Scott, thank you very much for sharing. It's so beautiful to see all of you. Vicky, thank you. And we say together, Amen, Amen, Amen,
Amen.
y punto.
Then y
Punto.
punto.
Thank you, everyone. We love you. Have a beautiful Silent Wednesday. I am with you in spirit.
Have a
Namaste.
good week. Namaste.
Bye now.